A great article from Morningstar recently titled, "When Will Markets Recover?" I thought about titling this video the same, but it felt a little too much like clickbait. Instead, this video will talk about the stages that same Morningstar article talks about of a bear market, which is where we are right now. So let's get right into it. The first stage is recognition. Recognition that we are in a bear market. Well, pretty sure this is news to no one. We entered a bear market in the fastest ever move since the Great Depression. Heck, recently we saw a 13% drop in the market in one day. Ugh. Stage 2, panic. We're in this stage, at least in my humble opinion. Now, I'm recording this after a pretty long week, and just on Monday morning, I had already talked to a half a dozen clients. With everyone being home, my wife and kids are now getting a sense of what I do for a living, which is not sitting around posting on Twitter. What makes stage 2 worse is what's happening with the safe bond market. There are a lot of moving factors within the bond market. Bonds are selling off to create cash due to demands of investors. Also, lots of high yield, semi-junk bonds are tanking as the underlying stability of the companies are now under question. The only analogy that I can think of with this recent bond market maneuver is from old cartoons. And I've got Tom and Jerry in my head. The skits where Tom steps on a rake and the handle pops up and hits him in the face. And then he turns the other direction and steps on a shovel, which also proceeds to hit him square in the face. The rake in this case is equity, and for those investors who move to the safety of bonds, they may have stepped on a shovel. Enough of that. Stage 3 is stabilization. This is where things start to flatten out a little bit more. Stocks are no longer dropping 13% in one day, and we recognize the cause of what drove the market into bear status. However, until that cause is eliminated, the market will bounce around with some more volatility. Sadly, it's like a roller coaster, but not fun. And it's not over, as this period can last the longest of all the stages. The fourth and final stage is anticipation. This is where it feels awful, and we start seeing headlines that it will never end, and this is the new normal. I love the example from Morningstar that in early 2009 they were holding an investment conference that was basically empty. The keynote speaker mentioned it would be months before the market recovered. What happened the next day? You guessed it, the longest bull market in history began its climb. I like this article as it was a reminder that we've been here before. Again, I'm not predicting when this will end. However, I do know we will eventually work our way back up the mountain one step at a time. It certainly will be interesting to look back at when we were in what stages. We absolutely know there will be lots of books written about this time. Again, if you thought this was a useful video, feel free to hit subscribe. I try and put out videos once a week. If you thought it was really helpful, feel free to share it with any of your friends. As always, and most importantly, stay safe, stay healthy.